Ball Wizard is a fantastic song, but what's even better than music is StarCraft 2, and we of course do have our next matchup here. It looks like both players are ready. The countdown should start any second, and we of course have FrostReD, the same very Zerg that we saw in the last series versus Killer, now going up against a Protoss instead of a Terran. He's going to be going up against here Clarity Gaming's cShew. To say cShew, because of course we were all part of back-to-back gaming recently ago, I guess we should say. And of course Blizzard just does such a great job with name changes, you know? Maybe we'll get one for Christmas. I'd like that. Blizzard, all I want for Christmas is another name change on my account, please. That would be appreciated. So, without further ado, and with a nice loud intonation to get you guys all out of your seats and awake, ready for the game, we've got in the bottom left-hand position here on Tall Dream Altar, none other than the man I've been speaking about. It is Clarity Gaming's cShew. Really solid macro Protoss, always at the very top of Masters, you know, thousands of millions of points, or whatever you can have in Masters before they force you to go into Grandmasters. That's cShew, and he doesn't play very cheesy at all. He's recently been working on some cheeses, though, so we might see something, but just a really solid macro player, great at defending, and has great late game engagements as well. Up here in the top right, we've got our blue Zerg. He is FrostReD, but he is of course blue. Maybe he's a little sad. Maybe he doesn't like playing against Protoss players. I don't know. I'm obviously reading way too much into the color of his pieces right now. But likely we're going to see him go for a 14 or 15 pool. Excuse me, and then follow it up there with a hatchery. He doesn't have to be careful on this map. You can go for that triple pylon wall off. I'm not actually sure. This looks like a ladder version, so I'm assuming that it actually can go for the triple pylon wall off. I know a couple versions they did some like unbuildable areas around here so that the triple pylon could not happen, but I'm not sure if this is one of them. Now we do have the forge going down here for cShew, and he's actually sending out even another probe here because he wasn't able to scout his opponent on the first try. Now he's going to get to his opponent's base, see that it was indeed a 15 pool going down here for FrostReD, and that'll make him feel nice and comfortable, nice and safe. He doesn't have to do any scrambling antics here to keep his base alive. And oh no, actually a key mistake here for cShew. He didn't get his probe back towards that natural quickly enough, and now FrostReD gets his hatchery down immediately. That's actually huge. It really does help the Zerg player a lot because they're able to just get their queens up that much quicker, get that larva going, and really start pumping out those drones at a much faster rate. And I mean, it's just really something that's going to work against cShew here already in this early game, especially considering that he went for a Forge first. If he'd gone for a Nexus first, that's a little greedier, he would have been okay, but of course since he couldn't scout his opponent quickly enough, he had to go for the Forge first, and now he is going to be just a tad bit behind. Now we do have the first Zerglings popping out for FrostReD here. Looks like they're going to run around, try to find the probe that is hiding here for cShew. It's find itself a nice bush to hide in. Meanwhile, we've got one queen on the way so far. I'm wondering if we're going to see a drone move out. It should have actually started moving out about 5-10 seconds ago here, but FrostReD might be going for some two-base trickery. He might actually have forgotten that on this, or not noticed rather, that on this version there is no rocks at the third, and indeed there we see the hatchery now going down for FrostReD as his Zerglings run around and start looking for a probe. So this is the point in time where you really wish you had a co-caster, because Zerg versus Protoss in the early game is pretty darn complacent. It's pretty slow. You see the Protoss player, of course, basically stuck behind his wall, just trying to stay alive, keeping himself there with the cannons. He does have a probe that comes right in here and does scout the hatchery, so nice move there by cShew. FrostReD unable to find that probe in time, and now cShew going to go hide that probe once again and maybe start throwing down some pylons. We see he's actually running around here towards that fourth base location. You can do some tricky things on this map as well by maybe putting some pylons on the low ground and then of course using a observer, using perhaps a hallucination to get some high ground vision and warping in a bunch of units. And it's just such a big base that oftentimes a Zerg player won't even see you start warping units in, and you can get 2, 3, 4 rounds of units in there. Now we do have, of course, that warp gate technology on the way. This is actually a pretty late warp gate research. He only just started at 20 seconds ago, so it's not going to finish until like the 8-minute 30-second mark, unless he does get some chrono boosts going. Now, the reason that it is so late, though, is because he did pump that Stargate out here before he actually started his warp gate research. We wanted to get that Stargate going as quickly as humanly possible. Now, this one Zealot here has taken out both of the Zerglings of his opponent, FrostReD, so now Red has absolutely no map presence whatsoever. Overlord here does come over to spot for FrostReD. Again, like I said, there can be those annoying pylons and high ground warp-ins in this area, and it looks like FrostReD is more than aware of them. And in fact, that Overlord even going to be able to spot Shew's probe there, so those Zerglings should be going after him and taking him down here in the near future. There's actually 2 probes out on the map here for Shew as well, so even if one goes down, he'll still be in a decent position here to get aggressive if he chooses to do so. Now the Stargate here is complete. We see that it's just Phoenixes coming from Shew. We see that the reaction from FrostReD is going to be to go for that evolution chamber. He's also starting to take a little bit of extra gas. I assume that as this evolution chamber does finish, we'll see some spore crawlers going down in these mineral lines to try to help defend against those Phoenixes. Meanwhile, a Zealot and Stalker combo here have moved down. They've done a great job there. Between the two of them, 6 Zergling kills total. And of course, just great map presence. And this makes it really scary for FrostReD. He lost the Overlord that was in his opponent's base. All he's got is this one Overlord over here, which a Phoenix is taking out, and he's got absolutely no Zerglings out on Zelnaga Watchtowers, no map vision at all. Seriously, this is what he can see. He can see to the edge of his ramp, around the edge of his base, and that's about it. So if his opponent is moving out onto the map and maybe going for some kind of follow-up aggression with these Phoenixes and, of course, a bunch of warp gates, he has no idea. Now, admittedly, that is not common when there's no Void Ray that's being used. Usually you'll see a Void Ray and then a couple Phoenixes, and then you can see the +1 Void Ray, 5 or 6 gate style of all-in. Not as likely with the Phoenixes, but nonetheless, a possibility that FrostReD does not have any idea about. We do see that the robotics facility has finished, and in total there's actually 4 gateways up right now, so that's definitely not enough gateways here to actually get aggressive for Shew. Meanwhile, the Phoenixes have been flying around trying to get some vision. He is going to see the Hydralisk den here in perfect timing. That's actually a great scout there for Shew. He'll see that Hydralisk den, and he should be putting down that robotics bay really just any second now. Oh no, did he actually not pay attention to what that was building? No, yes he did. There it is, robotics bay. He was just waiting for a bit of extra gas to get that going. And that means that these Hydralisks here, even with the help of a Nidus Worm, there should be a Colossus getting out around the time that they would be across the map and getting aggressive. So that's actually great defense for Shew, and we do see that 8 Hydralisks are on the way, so that's a pretty significant investment there for our Zerg player, even going with that Groove Spines upgrade for that plus range on the Hydras. Overload's going down left and right, and that does actually supply block our Zerg player. This is super annoying here, and the Queen wasn't close enough to the Spore Crawler, so now even she's going to go down. That's going to mean missed Larva injects, and now Hydralisks do pop out. He can actually pick these up to take them down. Hydralisks only have 80 HP, and of course the Phoenixes here do extra damage against light armored units, so they actually 4-shot Hydralisks. It's actually really scary to see mass Phoenixes just destroy Hydralisks, because until you have like 15-20 Hydralisks, there's almost nothing you can do about it. Now we do see that the Hydralisks here are continuing to pop out, 6 more on the way, and I'm looking for it. There it is, the Nidus network here for FrostReD, so that's what he's going to try to use to get out across the map. He doesn't really have any map vision, for one, so he's going to have to send like a Roach or a Zergling or maybe an Overseer out across the map to try to get some vision to be able to put down that Nidus Worm. And by the time he does that, I mean, we already see the first Colossus here about 3/4 of the way done. Range is on the way as well, getting the Chrono Boost there on both of those units. And so right now, really tough for FrostReD to get aggressive, and he is investing so much. He's going to have 24 Hydras here in mere moments. That is so much. That's 2,400 minerals and 1,200 gas invested into Hydras, plus the Groove Spines upgrades. Now there go the Zerglings. They're going to try to give vision here for a Nidus Swarm. The army right now of cShew isn't too large. We see that he's only got a handful of Sentries, Stalkers, and one Colossus. Second Colossus about a third of the way done. Zerglings here are spotting at the 4th base, waiting to see where that Nidus Worm is really going to go down here. And more Hydras are being constructed, man. He's going to be up to 30 Hydras here in just a few moments. He also did take that Infestation Pit. Didn't get Pathogen Glands just yet. He might be waiting for +2/+2. No. Getting a Hydralisk. Or getting a Hive. This is confusing. So on the one hand, we've got FrostReD here trying to get really aggressive with a bunch of Hydras with that Nidus Worm, but at the same time, he's trying to get a Hive. He's getting a Spire up. He's getting that Infestation Pit up. So basically, this attack here just isn't as strong as it could be, or even you could say it's a little delayed. And the Colossus here, there's 2 of them out. There's a third one about 2/3 the way done, and the range upgrade just finished. So these Colossus here should really be able to just destroy these Hydras, and here we're going to see exactly that. The Hydras are trying to move forward to engage. They do a lot of damage, but there the force fields go down. The Colossus, oh no! One of them did get picked off there. FrostReD will he be able to make this engagement work? A lot is out there getting warped in the front, but the Hydras there do decide to fall back. Units lost tab there does show that FrostReD's a little behind, and unfortunately Hydralisk, one of the units that has a really hard time falling back, but luckily they'll hop into that Nidus Worm there, and they will survive for now. Now, meanwhile, that Hive is just about complete. The Spire as well, so we could see a quick greater Spire there, and there's going to be a great army of Roaches and Hydras underneath those Broodlords. So that's actually something that you really rarely see nowadays. This is a little bit of a unit composition that's really reminiscent of, like, the first couple months of StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, which was a lot of Roach, Hydra into those late-game Broodlords, and a couple of Infestors to help as well. And meanwhile, there's the 4th base going down for FrostReD. Phoenix going in there, going to scout that for cShew. But the Colossus, they just end up ripping through these Roaches and Hydras so hard, and the really big problem with it is that they're so expensive. That's why you don't see them anymore. They're 100 minerals each, 50 gas, and unfortunately, the Colossus just kill them too quickly. And when you're investing all those resources into Hydralisk, it really delays your possibility of any Broodlords. And we see that Corruptors are popping out. Pathogen Glands here just about to finish. No Infestors, though, just yet. And this is going to be a really strong timing here for cShew. cShew moving out towards the 5th base of FrostReD right now. He's actually also right now getting the Gravitic Drive upgrade. That's for Warp Prism speed. Here comes the army of FrostReD. He's got to be really careful here. There's a lot of Sentry energy. There go the Force Fields. The Corruptors are trying to engage. These Stalkers have +2 attack, though, and they're taking down the Corruptors rather quickly. The Colossus are dancing backwards and forwards. We've got a couple of Stalkers here going for a bit of a flank. Oh, no, there was no focus fire for FrostReD, so 2 of the Colossus here in the very deep red, but are nonetheless still alive. There they are trying to run away from that Corruptor, and indeed the Corruptor will get taken out, and the entire army there of FrostReD did just get decimated. The Colossus now starting to regenerate those shields, and now this 5th base will be under siege, and the entire expensive army of FrostReD is gone. We see there cShew losing only about 6,000 resources to the 10,500 for FrostReD. FrostReD, meanwhile, still hasn't gotten that greater Spire, so Broodlords are not an option. It looks like he's going to be trying to stick to a Roach Corruptor army. He even threw in a couple of Hydralisks there, actually. He's got 3k minerals in the bank. Unbelievable. And meanwhile, the Stalkers blinked up into the main base. The Colossus, of course, just able to walk right up that cliff. Meanwhile, he's going to pull back a tiny bit here as the Roaches do come in. Oh, no, they get a great surround. At least one of the Colossus there will go down. No, he doesn't focus the right one. He attacks the one that was full HP, and thus it is able to survive, and FrostReD will push cShew away from his base for now. Now we do have a probe coming over here into the 4th base location for FrostReD. Going to put down a pylon, and there we're going to see some harassment going down. Fleet Beacon is on the way. Uh-oh, Colossus did get walled in by a gateway there, but now he'll be able to pop out. Fleet Beacon on the way again for that mother ship, and we do see the Greater Spire just getting started, so that's actually going to be a kind of tough timing here for FrostReD to hit. And on other maps, it might be a lot easier, but Tal'Darim alters such a huge map, going to make it super difficult for him to actually get those Broodlords all the way across the map in time, or rather before the mothership pops out and has enough energy for Vortex. Now, the 4th base of cShew did just get up and running. His opponent is trying to get a 5th, but oh my god, there's an errant Colossus over here doing a bunch of damage. Meanwhile, Zealots here did get warped in at the 4th base. Corruptors and Overlords giving that high ground vision, so the pylon there will get focus fired down as well. Meanwhile, this one Colossus is just kind of like hanging out here across the map. I don't know what he is up